So anyway, for the 23 of you here and all the other Sherpas all around the world, I know we're happy for your support so far. It's been a crazy 2.5 months since TGE on August 18th. We really appreciate all of you guys for everything you've done, the suggestions, the feedback, continuous support. It really means a lot to all of us. And we do hope that you continue to support us in the future. And hopefully with some of these new updates and developments, you'll be pretty pleased with how far we've progressed in such a short time, as well as be able to see where we're headed and the development that we're undertaking in the coming months, years, etc. So again, thanks from all of us. We really, really do appreciate it. So I guess where we can start off with is just some small updates about the team. So in terms of our operating team here in Hong Kong, you're sitting with the three kind of management team members, Will, Rodrigo, myself. We also have the council as well here in Hong Kong who are on the Rio DeFi team, James and Stefan, which is mainly involved in more high-level decisions and governance. We also have several other team members here in Hong Kong who we'll be introducing shortly, more on the operations side. In terms of the kind of tech team, we just want to share a little bit more about how we've developed that and grown it, which it has grown substantially in the past months. So we have one of our blockchain engineers, one of our lead engineers based in Australia. And actually, we're excited to introduce him to you guys shortly. We have a large team based out of Eastern Europe as well, of about 5 actually. And then we have a DevOps person located in the US. And we still do have some individuals based in Shanghai as well. So quite a large technical team, which is undertaking this monstrous task that we've kind of set in front of us. We'll continuously be introducing them all to you and actually probably even arranging some AMAs for you guys to actually be able to talk with them and ask them some technical questions as well. Oh, Michael Sue's on. Hello, Michael. Hello, Michael Sue. So anyway, we're really excited to share more information about who our team is and who they're comprised of in the imminent future. And Rodrigo's also like our resident tech in-house guy here in Hong Kong. So,
and maybe to add to that too, most of the teammates on the tech side that are helping us out are people that we've been working with over the past few years. I specifically have been working very closely with 3 of them. So it's people that we know very well and we trust, and that an open source program where the community can also get involved in identifying the right type of data that maybe they want displayed, and maybe we can all collaborate on how it gets implemented.
Yeah, so just a quick couple questions here. So when are the devs introduced? We covered that in just a little bit. We'll be doing some AMAs live in the near future, coming weeks, honestly, with some of the devs to introduce them to you guys. So they're looking forward to come chat. In terms of when we will move to Rio Chain, so Rio Chain just announced the launch of their mainnet today. We're very excited about that. As I had said in Telegram, there is no imminent move to Rio Chain yet. It is still a V1 for them. They've been working very hard on it, but there is still a lot of development on their side as well as our side that we've been doing. So there's no set date. It's definitely not, to be honest, anytime that soon, because there's still a lot of work that needs to be done in the whole Polkadot ecosystem anyway. And right now, there's just a lot of benefits to still living on Ethereum. I know gas is expensive and it's slow and whatnot, but there is a lot of benefits in terms of liquidity, infrastructure, composability with other different apps and wallets, et cetera, et cetera. So Michael Sue asked the question of what are our views on Ohm token prices in the next 3, 6, and 12 months? So while the team does not comment on token prices exactly, it does segue nicely into the next point. So thank you for that nice segue, Michael. I appreciate it. So we know that the overall situation and price action recently has been a little bit unfortunate. We're as aware of it as you guys are, and
in line with the market, to be fair.
Yeah. But we also understand that some of these vestings and unlocks have been unfortunate and pretty brutal for the price action. We had, particularly last month, we had a back-to-back unlock of private sale, and then followed by the BitThumb unlock, and that was unfortunately a lot of tokens and a lot of big supply shock coming onto the market. That was hard to deal with, particularly in a DeFi bear market. There's 3 more unlocks left. We're going to do our best to weather these to the best of our ability. Hopefully we'll be continuing development, add more functionalities for Ohm, add more utility for Ohm, so we can continue to weather this, as a community and as a project. But that being said, we are aware of the circumstances. We are aware of what the price action looks like at the moment, and because of that, we don't want to have unnecessary supply shocks coming onto the market after the after the final vesting for the private sale, which is in beginning of January or middle of January.
So January 18th would technically be the last. So the next 3 vestings for the private round is November 18th, December 18th, and then January 18th. And then technically, well, I guess you want to.
So technically, the team and advisors would start vesting and unlocking
on February 18th.
And February 18th, which would be right after that. And again, due to the market sentiments and whatnot, as well as to show additional long-term commitment to you guys, we've decided to move our cliff, which was originally scheduled for 6 months, to a bare minimum of 12 months for the team and advisor tokens, just to give some time frame in between before there's any other unnecessary supply shocks. One of the things that we want to be focusing on is improving tokenomics, is improving and reducing as much inflation as possible. So we've already made several cuts to the daily minting schedules, and we'll continue to look towards reducing the inflation, as well as instituting other mechanisms to prevent unnecessary dumping from the additional incentives that we're paying in Ohm, essentially, from staking and other different delegation rewards. So anyway, just to sum that up, Team and Advisors is going to be extended at least another 6 months past the original 6-month cliff, and then we'll follow another 24 months vesting period, at least. Could still change, but it will never become shorter. Let's put it that way. So some other updates. As you may know, BitMax staking rewards APR has been reduced to 20%. 20% is going to be the APR considered for all non-exchange, all off-chain staking rewards.
So non-Mantra DAO native staking is essentially 20%.
Yeah. That being said, we will be keeping the 88% on the native platform for a little bit longer. It was originally scheduled to end at the end of this month. But again, for the retail investors, we do realize the recent price action and whatnot. So we want to give this additional time for people to earn some more Ohm rewards because of their willingness to participate on our native platform, stake, support us, and we think that this is something that you guys deserve.
And just to clarify on that, remember that any rewards that are earned on the native platform, they don't actually become liquid as you earn them. So we don't expect that to be a big cause of selling. If anything, what we've been noticing is most stakers actually restake their rewards. So we're happy about that. We're happy that this is directly benefiting retail holders. So we part of this initiative was extending that for a bit longer, while considering the storm that we're in the middle of.
Yeah, and that kind of segues nicely into our next point, which is we are currently in the fixed rate APR of 88.88%, our favorite number. But we're moving to a V2 pool, which we've discussed in the Telegram at length. That's a variable pool, not too dissimilar from the kind of Uni V2 Ohm ETH pool that we've launched. So this rate, again, depends on your stake of the platform or of the pool and how much rewards you're going to get based off of kind of an annualized basis. So again, the earliest stakers will be incentivized the most, but we'll target a lower rate over time, and that will move down over time accordingly.
But I would definitely say, I would definitely emphasize, keep an eye out for that, because early stakers do get a pretty big benefit. Essentially, the way it works is rewards get distributed on a per block basis. So if you're the first staker and you capture like 10 blocks worth of rewards for yourself, that's pretty significant. So you want to be there early, and of course we're gonna give plenty of notice for everyone who's been paying attention to take advantage of this. Eventually, of course, this is gonna evolve into a much more like normal APY once more stakers have come in. To give an example of this is when the Uni OMI pool launched, I think the very first stakers earned for the first few hours earned pretty crazy. Actually, for the first 2 days earned pretty crazy APYs. I think for the first 5 days it was up to maybe 2,000-3,000 APY. It's obviously eventually, as I think people have caught an eye on this, it's gone down to I think about 80% right now, which is as expected, in line with the OM staking pool. But definitely keep an eye on that, because if you're an early bird, you'll make significant rewards.
So let's take a couple different questions here, because there are a lot coming in. The first one that I think is relevant because we were just talking about it is, so do we have to undelegate from V1 pool, or will it be transferred to V2 pool automatically?
We are going to have a proper release on how this is going to work. But yes, there will be. We are developing a migration mechanism into the new pool, and we'll release more details on that ahead of it.
Yes. Couple people asking about the Bondly airdrop, sorry. So Bondly airdrop had its first snapshot yesterday. There'll be 5 more snapshots coming up before the airdrop is actually released, which is going to be in the first coming weeks of December, and then I think the subsequent weeks following. So the other question I think is good is airdrops make up for a reduced APR. We'll have several more airdrops. Bondly is the first, Quick is the second. And be on the lookout for one coming up shortly, very shortly. But we'll announce that shortly. So Crypto Sparrow has asked a couple of different questions. So let's try to at least answer one of them. Crypto Sparrow. Oh wait, hold on. Juice Dog first. Yes, the roadmap is on time. 2020 should be completed. We're progressing at the rate we want to be progressing. There's still a lot to develop, don't get me wrong, but at present we are good and on schedule. So I think Crypto Sparrow, we're going to answer your second question, which was which do you think are the first competitors of Mantra DAO and why? I think we have multiple different competitors because we're just doing so many different things. On the staking side, we're competing with staking as a service validator companies such as Stakefish, such as Figment, Chorus One, Stake.us. I mean, a bunch of them. Also, even centralized exchanges. On the kind of lending side, you're also competing with like Compound and Aave. On the CDP side, you're competing with MakerDAO. Some of the other ones in the kind of I guess more interoperable space would be Akala, for example, or even Kava to a degree, although they're one of our partners, just in the
but different ecosystems.
Yeah, different ecosystems in general. So anyway, we're there's plenty of different competitors out there, but we do think that we have a bit of a differentiation in how we've combined our businesses together and our focus on community, the DAO, as well as the I guess the overall kind of ease of use and focus on user experience, where I think a lot of these projects, they're just really complex to use, to be completely honest. Again, we want to be DeFi for the masses rather than whale-fi.
Then Derek's question, in terms of us lengthening our team and advisors tokens, those will be distributed and invested over months.
They will still be vested over 2 years. So originally it was 6-month cliff, and then vested over 18 months after that on a monthly basis. What we're doing is we're expanding the cliff to 1 year. We'll still have, and we're actually also expanding the vesting over 2 years. So essentially the very first tokens we vest are 1 year after TGE, and the last one that we vest is a bit under 3 years.
And just to add to that, we'll again be seeing like those tokens are not just like getting dropped to the team members. They'll be controlled by the DAO itself, by the foundation, and will be distributed as such and distributed carefully. Let's put it that way.
And Richard, good luck with the root canal. Those suck.
Yeah, that sucks.
So we'll catch you after that's done. And this is all being recorded, and it'll go on YouTube and Facebook. So if you're not able to catch the whole thing or have any questions about previously answered questions, you'll be able to rewatch it and do all that fun stuff following.
Okay, so Ding471 asks a good question. Do we still get the airdrop if we unstake halfway through the Bonley snapshot? You will still get the airdrop, but you would only get it for that portion that you're staked. So again, it's a weighted average of the entire period of time of those 6 essentially snapshots that we're going to be doing. So if you miss 3 of them, and maybe a lot more people come in the second half of the staking, you might get less than half of what you could be entitled because of that. But so just to keep that in mind.
You just want to be present. You just want to be staked when each of those 6 snapshots happen.
That being said, if you unstake, again, it takes 8 days to unbond, so you would miss the next week's snapshot. So there's not really a.
It's gonna be hard to game.
Yeah, there's not really a way to game it. If you unstake, you're kind of out for at least for one of the weeks. When moon. It's late here, so I think the moon's coming up soon. How did the idea of Mantra DAO first come about? Give a little bit of background on this one. Good question. So originally, Will and I were brought in to be advisors for Rio DeFi and to help with some of their kind of DeFi products that they're working on. But then we realized that kind of taking and almost splitting off some of these different ideas into a more decentralized and DAO-based governance model with a totally different branding made a little bit more sense. Its own autonomy, its own token, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of where it came from. And obviously that was a really early stage, and there's been tons and tons and tons of development since then. Especially with the council members in the beginning, that was kind of the core team. But now we run totally separately. Own balance sheet, own team, own technical team, own office, own everything. And of course, we maintain very close ties, but that's kind of there is a separation, and there needs to be. One's the application layer, and one's the actual protocol layer, essentially.
Then in terms of airdrops, it won't actually be something that's shown on the website and on the app. That'll be something that when we actually do announce and distribute those tokens, we'll announce to the community, so you can then go look in your wallet to see that they've arrived.
Just to add to that, what we will do though is we will open source and post on GitHub the code, the script that we're using for the airdrop snapshots, and we'll be also posting the results of each of the snapshots. So it's it'll be provably fair. It'll be verifiable. You'll be able to see that on our GitHub.
So one of the questions from Familia Azevedo was, is there any chance of not being part of the ecosystema of Polkadot? No, we will for sure become part of the ecosystem of Polkadot. 100% happening. I'm rocking my Kusama shirt right now. It's happening.
But we are already in it. We are in the Substrate Builders program.
We're in the Substrate Builders program. We're running validators for Polkadot Kusama. We're actively participating and supporting other different Polkadot projects as well. We haven't really announced too many partnerships in that neck of the woods just yet, but it is definitely on the cards and going to be coming out shortly. Is there a plan for token burn? Absolutely not. We say absolutely not because, as we've shared a lot in the Telegram group, because of the type of token that we are and that Ohm is as a governance token, there is not truly a lot of value in burning governance tokens that actually have a lot of value in terms of voting and participating in the governance. So we prefer this method that we found from one of the most prominent VC companies, VC firms in the space called Placeholder VC. And they have this model called buy and make. And essentially what you're doing is you're taking the buyback, which is really what everyone cares about in the end, buyback, reducing the supply, making it more scarce, but then you use those tokens in a kind of liquidity pool to provide liquidity to the token in and of itself. And then you also have it in this kind of like treasury controlled sink of sorts that you're able to then use in the future. So the reason that we're doing this is because, let's say we burned half the tokens, but then in the end of the day, our staking rewards run out. And, how are we going to incentivize people to use our platform? How are we going to incentivize them to use our services and our products? This way, we have those tokens left over that if we need to, we can use those in the end, but it's still accomplishing the goal of reducing supply, making it more scarce, hopefully having an appreciatory effect on the price in the short term, mid-term, long-term, etc. Yeah. As well as being a sustainable, move in the future. And I guess the only other thing to add to that is, the only other thing to really add to that element is that, we're going to be burning a lot of different tokens, or excuse me, buying back a lot of tokens through the various products that we've launched essentially, or launching, including Mantra DAO, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so hold on. Sam has a pretty good question. Don't mean to talk about price, but just want to know what the atmosphere is like with your team. Obviously, do we want the price to be higher? Yes. Personally, I bought Ohm all the way down, so I'm losing money too on that with my own money. And it is what it is, man. So I get it, and it sucks, and we wish it would be better. And we're actively doing things that we think in the mid to long term can improve the price, including continued development, improving tokenomics, showing further and longer term commitment, continuing to have very top level partnerships with a lot of these different validator nodes that we're going to be announcing and continue to announce. And I think that's the longer term plan that we're focused on. Like, we've been through this before. Bull markets, they come and go. Bear markets they're ever present in crypto. They can happen at any time. We're definitely in the middle of a bit of a DeFi bear market. It literally went from, you can hear the bubble pop for DeFi at least, and it's just you're just not having the same amount of essentially buyers looking at these different tokens. So we were one of the most hyped projects coming out this year. That's not like a Polkadot or an Avalanche or something like that. One of these major protocol chains, and that was great in the short term. Probably harmed us a little bit in the midterm, the past month or so. Just a lot of hype without for a company and a project that didn't really have a product yet. So we had to play a little bit of catch up there. I think we're starting to catch up.
And as we try to be, as transparent and show our roadmap, there's still, things that we're developing in the background that, whether it's just to build it first or for marketing, waiting to announce it. And, I think overall we see what we're building day to day and the partnerships that we have kind of going on in the background and what the next, 12, 24, 36 months, ideally will look like for us. So, while day to day or week to week, it might not be great in terms of market and price and things like this, we are, incredibly excited with what we're building. And, we know that the other aspects of it will definitely turn around and show based off of what we're achieving and what we're building.
Yeah, it definitely, like, attitude-wise, which I think was originally where your question was pointing to, is still, we're still super excited about everything. We love this project. We live for it. That's why we're constantly in Telegram. That's why we're constantly engaging with you guys. We take a lot of abuse online, and it's okay, man. It's like water off a duck's back. We're here for you guys, and we'll weather the storm for that in order to see this through to the long term. So I guess the next kind of like really big thing that we want to talk about, really big thing. So we originally issued our own ERC20 token. No, ergo, you don't have to buy the T-shirt necessarily. We'll figure it out through the ambassador program, I think. Will be sharing more information soon. Anyway, so originally the way that our kind of plan for how this whole process was going to work was, originally it was, okay, we're going to raise our money. It's going to take, a month and a half, and then we're going to launch on RioChain. That's literally what we thought. Obviously, DeFi bull run came in. We raised way more money, we had more commitments than we actually had room for, significantly, in a much shorter time. I mean, we were sold out like every round very, very, very quickly. And then essentially we ended up launching the ERC20 token in a very, very hurried and rushed manner because we wanted to take advantage of the hype and of the buzz and of the market, essentially.
And the community was asking for it.
And the community was for sure asking for it. Crypto timing is everything. And, we hit it about as good as you could. We timed, not that it was completely on our, because of how
we got lucky.
We got lucky on the DeFi part, but we did specifically target the 18th of August, which is also the day that Polkadot became transferable, to launch as well. So there was a bunch of hype coming on. And originally, the idea was to launch on on RioChain in like a month and a half later. Essentially, what we ended up doing is launching a very simple version of the ERC20 token, the OHM token, which we then plan to migrate to RioChain RST88 standard, which we were then going to do like a wrapped OHM through a bridge in order to then have like interoperability between Ethereum and RioChain. For a variety of reasons that we're going to explain a little bit right now, we've definitely decided that that's not necessarily the best play. And we're going to skip a step, essentially. So what we plan to do is actually reissue a new ERC20 token in the coming weeks, which we're going to call like OHM V2 on Ethereum. And then we'll just use that as the like master token to then move into RioChain, essentially, instead of having to do the wrapped version. So there'll be a master ETH token, and then there'll be everything moving over to RioChain once that's fully launched and available for us to essentially move things over. And what does this mean for you guys, and what does this mean for us? One of the things that we had gotten a lot of FUD about was the fact that the original token didn't have a cap supply. Definitely in hindsight, we should have put a cap supply on that.
And just to clarify, the reasoning behind that was that it was never fully established when it would kick off, but there was meant to be an inflationary process too of 2%, which to an extent means that we had to have an on-cap supply. We have to an extent moved away from that for now, so it opens up the room to institute a cap supply on that.
So we're not going to be doing the 2% inflation that we'd originally talked about in the white paper. That's off the table at this point. We are, however, going to be minting all 888,888 on Ethereum. So you actually can't have a rug pull LaRousse in this case. And there's going to be a lot more transparency in how we're doing it in terms of you'll have a very clear idea about what buckets are controlled by which various pools and whatnot. So you'll have your circulating supply tokens, you'll have your team and advisor tokens that are locked, time locked, you'll have your grants, you'll have your referrals, and you'll have your other various buckets, reserves, etc., that are all clearly labeled, and you can see how the minting process is going to be looking and done via controllable smart contracts that don't have owners.
Yeah, so we're working on those like quote unquote escrow smart contracts as we speak. So again, as John says, we're minting all the entire supply up front, placing them in their time locked contracts, so anyone can see no rug pull. Anyone can see where the tokens are going and when they are going.
And I guess the other thing that we talked a little bit about the buy and make strategy using Balancer, and the reason that we need to have a cap supply is partially because we want to use this balancer smart pool to maintain the treasury of the Ohm token, and you need to have this kind of certain set of conditions met, and that's one of them. Yeah, you definitely will never have a great YouTube AMA without some FUD. Shout out to Kobrock and LaRousse. The devs are live, and they say what's up.